Good morning. Welcome to yet another Star Trek podcast. I'm Brad, your host for the day. As always, I have my two knuckleheads, Majeed and Drew, with me. Good morning, gentlemen. How you two doing?
Buddy, why did you just, you didn't give the people what they wanted. You're Brad for the evening. You're Brad for the morning. You're Brad for the afternoon. You're not Brad, the host for the day. Come on, man. Get on the board.
Hey, listen up there, chump.
Chump.
You know what? I'm the host for the day, so I can do what I want for the day.
You just call me a chump?
He did. Do you guys remember the, pizza bagels or pizza bites or whatever the hell they called them? What were those called? Pizza bagels?
Pizza bagels.
Pizza bagels?
They had that theme song. It was like, pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime. Well,
so a few things.
Well,
wait. So
let me wrap up my thought process here, because this is not just a song for singing's sake. We got to come up with a way to sing Brad for the morning, Brad for the evening, to that tune. So if
I don't want to end it with Brad for the supper time, because I don't want to think about eating Brad.
Well,
He's all bones.
We can mix it up. He's
bones and hair
and grizzle.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tough, chewy parts. I apologize.
I don't know how to respond.
All right, well,
to
we're gonna drive by that one.
How was your Thanksgiving?
We did that last
Wasn't
week.
Thanksgiving like 2 weeks ago?
Oh, we did?
Mark for
Shit.
No,
sorry.
keep it.
Well, as the folks can clearly tell, I have no concept of time.
Neither does Star Trek, because
Apparently. We've come across many, paradox from time travel related things. So I guess then, how is your week, gentlemen?
Well, I was just telling you guys before I found a way to grow my delts, which I call them shoulder balls. You guys didn't like that term.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what, Drew? What are you going to say?
Not a fan.
Of the term shoulder balls?
Yeah. I don't think
But they'd look like little balls at the end of your shoulders.
But if you grow them, then you're just going to have these giant balls protruding out of your shoulders, and it's just going to look weird, man. It's not going to look right.
No, they're called delts. Like The Rock has delts.
Yeah, but when you say shoulder balls, I picture literally something the size of a tennis ball just sitting on top of your muscle. The visual is all wrong. I know your goal, but the term that brings the visual in my brain is not human. So,
Well, Majeed, I'm sorry, but you will not be getting any balls.
All right, guys. It's been a great day. See you next week.
Drew, I heard, buddy, that you're a little upset.
guys, this has been a terrible 24 hours for me. Something very tragic has happened, and I'm in a bad mental state.
Are you okay, man? Is there something I can do?
Jacob deGrom signed with the Texas Rangers. The best pitch.
Who?
The best pitcher in baseball was in New York.
Andy Pettit?
Was a New York Met. And he's now signed with the Texas Rangers.
What's baseball?
It's like basketball, except you throw the ball to the person, they hit it with a bat.
I came to you guys looking for moral support, and I feel like I'm not getting it. I don't think you guys understand.
I'm sorry. Let's try this again. Drew?
Yes.
I'm sorry that Jacob deGromsby went to a different team that's not the New York Mets.
I think I'm sorry for your loss would be sufficient, and then you don't.
I'm sorry,
and then you don't have to make up words.
Drew, I'm sorry that he went to a better team.
Oh, that's all right. Well,
I didn't think I could get triggered at 7:39 in the morning, but here we are.
Here we are.
It's with love, though. It's with love.
All right, so let's try this one more time. Drew, I'm sorry for your loss. Would you want me to leave an upper decker in the Mets locker room?
You had your chance.
I did have my chance, but I don't think that the Spartan Race team would have let me leave an upper decker.
I'm just hearing excuses. You made a promise to me that you were going to do something, which I asked you not to do, and now you're making an excuse for not doing it.
So, by the way, when I got to the stadium, I legitimately asked you, I said, hey, Drew, where are the bathrooms? Because I had, it was a long drive from Connecticut down to Queens. And your response, remember what your response to me was?
I do not.
No. That was it. You just
No. What he meant, Majeed, is that you're in New York. You need to go take a shit on the street.
No, my response was meant to deflect him from leaving an upper decker.
I had at the time I completely forgot that I threatened that, and I'm legitimately asking because I have to use the bathroom. So I'm asking random people at the stadium, bathroom, and I'm running. Listen. I almost started the race on a full bladder because of you.
Did they have they used to have
There's
porta
no
potties.
signs. There's no signs.
Well, the race starts in the parking lot, right?
No, the race started. I don't know how this stadium works, but there's levels.
Yeah.
So it starts in one of the hallways.
Okay.
And it starts one of the hallways, and then up the stairs, and you got to run the stadium steps, and then you go through more hallways, down more steps.
Yeah.
And you have to not push the little children while you're there. I don't know, man. I hate that stadium because of Spartan Race.
Well, that's Spartan Race's fault, not the Mets' fault. And literally, there are bathrooms everywhere.
Mr. Met was there.
Oh yeah, Mr. Met's awesome, man.
I mean, Green Man is better.
Green Man is like a drunk uncle on Thanksgiving, but like a drunk young uncle who might have gotten arrested for disorderly conduct a few times.
Leave Brad alone, man. Gosh, he's only had 5 hours of sleep.
Majeed, you're a jerk.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to the new season without our Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, you guys won't make it to the World Series again. I mean, maybe you guys can still turn it around. Moneyball? Moneyball. That's a thing. Do Moneyball.
Yeah, we're just going to buy everybody.
I feel like we should probably move on from this topic before Drew kills Majeed.
It's going to happen.
I also have pretty bad news.
What's going on, man?
So a lot of my bodybuilding icons, I just learned that they are on steroids. They take performance enhancing. What the hell's wrong with you?
You never thought The Rock took steroids?
I'm not talking about The Rock.
He's all
the
natural.
Rock's not on. The Rock is all natty, but I'm talking about
No.
What is his name on the AEW? Claudio
Castagnoli?
Yeah, apparently he's on steroids. Larry Wheels was on steroids. I don't know, man.
Where'd you hear about Claudio being on steroids?
Apparently there was a document put out, and his name was on it as one of the people using steroids.
Okay, I mean it wouldn't surprise me, but they in WWE at least they were testing for that stuff pretty regularly. So
yeah, and I just want to put it out there. I don't like the fact that both of you guys laughed when I told you my gripes. Just gonna put it out there. Not cool. Not cool.
I only treat you like I treat Drew, so don't worry.
You see, here's the thing. My problem was breaking news. Your problem is common knowledge.
All right.
So if you haven't opened up your eyes for the past 36 years, did I get that right?
Hey, so here's what we can do. We can do this one of two ways. I can either give you a demerit or give you a slap in the face.
I mean, it's basically the same thing either way.
All right, let's go outside, Drew. I'm gonna give you both.
All right, it's cold out though.
You should just do a Rochambeau.
I'll go first.
I've been training for this day.
With your shoulder balls?
Yeah. Relocated them.
let's talk about Star Trek, guys.
Yeah, let's talk about Star Trek, and tell the folks why Majeed and Drew are not hosting and Brad is, because he's the one that actually finished the episode and watched it in full, whereas the other two schmucks kind of fell asleep or wasn't paying attention. So therefore, Brad gets stuck with the actual hosting part of the show. Wait, did I just complain? I apologize, folks.
Not only did you complain, you did it in the third person like some kind of schmuck.
Dinner for schmucks. That's the deal.
I'm not going to dispute your claims. However, I do take offense to the fact that you said that I didn't finish the episode, because technically,
no, I said pay attention.
Well, that was an addendum.
I said finish or pay attention. So,
I finished the episode. I just did it while unconscious.
See, that's what I'm talking about there, folks. But I love you too. That's why I'm doing this.
I tried really hard.
I did too.
This episode, I normally don't like to give away my thoughts early, but I did not like this episode, and my brain shut off like that.
Did you just try to snap and then not snap because you can't snap? No. Okay, good. Sorry, continue.
This isn't the Addams Family.
Oh my God, I want to watch Wednesday. My daughter already finished the season. The first season.
It's pretty good. So I'm going to do something a little different, folks. I'm going to start the episode with the sum up this episode, because I feel this is a very just way of doing it. So this episode, to sum it up, Star Trek does the purge. The away team is visited by the ghost of Christmas past, and it takes apparently 100 years for Starfleet to send in a rescue team, because Starfleet really gets on top of things. That's the gist of the episode, and you know what? I'm going to change it. That's my summary. There you go. Done. We can now talk about it.
By the way, can we just talk about the fact that the monsters from The Village were in this episode? You guys never saw that movie, did you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you're talking about M. Night Shyamalan?
M. Night Shyamalan had a movie, Drew, his second or third movie, and it was called The Village. And there were these monsters wearing like brown cloaks, and it was obscuring their faces, and it just
they also look like porcupines. They didn't look like anything in this episode.
Well, I mean, the cloaks and obscuring the face demerit Brad.
So, Memory Alpha describes this episode as the Enterprise discovers a planet where the population acts like zombies and obey the will of an unseen ruler called Landru. Not to be confused with Lando, who is in Star Wars. So just clarification there, folks, because I totally thought it was Lando Calrissian, and I was like, whoa, Lando's in this shit? Man, this is going to be awesome. But then it's Landru, and I was really disappointed.
Or it's Landru, not Air Drew, not Water Drew. But
Worthy of note, I think this is the shortest Memory Alpha article I've ever seen for an episode.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah, this is pretty.
The entire thing is basically summed up in. I mean, they have broken down by acts plus a teaser, and there's 10 paragraphs maybe for everything, and I think that's a good indication of what we're dealing with here.
So we start with the episode. We see Sulu and O'Neill on the planet. They're kind of like in 1920s getup, I guess you could say, and they're kind of like scared. They're like, "Oh my God, something's coming after us!" And O'Neill kind of freaks out and just runs away, leaving Sulu to wait to be beamed up. And one of these village-like creatures that Majeed described gives Sulu the bad touch, and then he gets beamed up. And Sulu's acted all wonky just from the touch. So apparently that's all it takes is just a touch from one of these guys, and then you change entirely. Yeah. So that's important to know at this moment. That is important at this moment. So then, another away team goes down. Kirk, McCoy, Spock, some other people. I don't know their names because they're not really important, apparently, in the story to really have established names, but I'm pretty sure they do. I'll just call them the red shirts. That makes sense, right? They're throwaway.
They're definitely wearing red shirts underneath these gangster suits.
Yeah, red tidy whities.
So they go down, and they go back down, all disguised in 1920 getup, and immediately they find these zoned out people who are just wandering around the streets, and they're like, "The hour upon us. Are you here for the festival?" type crap. And well, they're like, "Yeah, you know what? A festival could be good. We'll get some cotton candy. We'll go on a Ferris wheel. Doing some fun stuff." But apparently, it's not that type of festival. It's the Purge. It's literally the Purge.
It was the Purge.
And so apparently it starts at 6 p.m. and it lasts until 6 a.m. Well, the crew is like, yeah, I know. Well, wouldn't it be BYOW? Bring your own weapons.
Yeah.
These hands are weapons, boy.
Well, the people go back shit crazy, and they start throwing shit, killing people. I don't know. I assume they're killing people, but like, there's no real maiming apparently. But the crew's like, we're out, we're peace, we're gonna be good. We're gonna go to this hotel and chill. And in there's 3 guys who are unaffected by the Purge. Which, did they ever really explain why? Is it because they're like, oh, we're older, so we're exempt from the Purge?
They have plot armor.
That is a very convenient thing. Yeah, so the crew just sticks it out in this hotel room, which, I mean, is it just me? Is it kind of like, why wouldn't they just beam back up and then wait until it ended and then beam down? I mean, that would have made sense, right, guys? No,
it's so the episode could happen, Brad.
But it didn't have to.
Right. Right, but then the episode would have been 15 minutes long.
I did forget to mention that they are searching for the Archons, I guess. It's like a ship disappeared 100 years earlier. Which I mentioned is like, they waited 100 years to send somebody to find the Archons, because clearly that's a priority.
Yeah,
but
we're seeing that Starfleet kind of tends to do this quite a bit. Like, stuff goes missing, and they're just like, meh.
You see, like, to me, they could have gone away and be like, oh, it went missing like a few months ago. And then they would have sent it. Like, that would have made more sense. 100 years, though. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Anyways, the Purge stops in the middle of the day because, everybody goes back to their zombie-like, zoned out TV watching phase. And the crew kind of goes to try to find some stuff. The daughter of one of the guys that they're staying with is kind of going a little nuts. She's upset, and McCoy gives her a sleeping pill. He roofies her a little bit. The guy is kind of trying to be like, oh, thank you, but apparently they're talking about blasphemy and stuff, and these porcupine related dudes show up. Oh wait, no, that's the village. It's the other guys that actually showed up in this one. The guys with hoods and robes that didn't look like the porcupine guys from the village. They show up.
Just make sure we had the distinction that they're brown robes, not white robes. We need to make that clear distinction.
That is important in 2022.
Yeah.
So the brown robed guys come, and they got apparently these blowguns. And they blow smoke out them, but apparently they're not. They're not
fireworks, like little sparklers occasionally.
Yeah, but they're actually what it really is when you're a kid and during Christmas time when your parents like finish wrapping the presents, like you have those long rolls of paper that's left over from the Christmas paper, and so you just kind of use it as like a lightsaber or like a bat or something. And you just play around with it. That's really what it was. That's all
I still do that as an adult.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. I do that too. But that's really what it was. They're just kind of messing around with their sticks and blowing shit. I don't know.
Ooh, they're what?
Anyways, they're just kind of blowing things, really? Stuff, causing people. Wait, did they killed a guy with that? I think.
Yeah,
they did. And there was nothing in it, so that didn't really make much sense, but hey, we're rolling with it. We're gonna keep going.
Brad's like, they blew this guy to death.
And so then, well, the two guys or one of the guys that kind of helped them was kind of like, hey guys, I can show you where things are. And so then they came and they started going out into the street. But apparently the zombie-like people are only zombie-like people for so long until they're like, the pod people, and they just kind of, point their fingers out and be like, you're not one of us type thing. And so they're starting to go after him again. But then they eventually changes their phaser beams into a widespread mode and stun like a bunch of people all at once. Drew, did you even know that was possible?
They've done stuff like that before. I mean, I think this may have been the first time in Star Trek that they did anything like that.
I mean, that seemed more believable than using a microphone to drown out people's heartbeat.
I would agree with that 100%.
Fair. 100% fair, yeah. Anyways, so they go, they find a safe location, but apparently it was only a safe location until this ghost of Christmas past shows up and was like, you guys are not with Landrew. We need to get you guys with the body and the soul of Landrew. And they're trying to talk to him, but he's like, I'm just a recording, guys. You can't, say anything that I'm going to pay attention to.
Jor-El. He's basically Jor-El.
And so then they all fall asleep, right? They all randomly fall asleep for what seems to be no absolute reason at all. And they wake up in a sex dungeon. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And so then in the sex dungeon, McCoy's missing. And then he comes back like he's a happy little camper who just had
sex in the sex dungeon.
He just had like his little mistress take control there. And then he's like, I'm with Landrew now. So apparently Landrew's really good in the sack. Who knew? Anyways, they take
Wow, that just, you meant so into that, and I'm so proud of you for committing yourself to that bit. Bravo, buddy.
I mean, it's not a bit though. That's the truth.
A sex dungeon?
Yeah, that was totally some manacles on the walls there and everything.
Just because there's chains on the wall in a basement doesn't make it a sex dungeon, Brad.
What would you call it?
A dungeon? A regular dungeon? Jesus.
But I mean, like, what do you do in that type of dungeon?
Dungeon stuff.
Torture people. Different dungeon stuff. Brad's like, I need ideas.
I want to know.
What do I do in the dungeon? I would get tortured because I'd be the guy to get arrested.
Are they going to be like spanking you? Kirk gets taken away because it's his turn, but it turns out it's not actually to Landrew. It's to be with Landrew's body. Or something like that, where they kind of metaphorically, zap your mind, and then they take Spock. But it turns out, good news, folks. There's this random dude who is immune to Landrew, and he saves Kirk and he saves Spock, and they act like they are. You can't see it. I'm doing air quotes. They act like they are with Landrew, but they're not really with Landrew. And so then they're kind of going back to try to scheme, but McCoy, being actually with Landrew, is like, "Yo, you guys weren't really with Landrew. That's not Landrew type talk. We gotta do something about this." And so then he breaks the he kind of breaks the whole act, and of course only Spock and Kirk can really save things. So that guy that was immune takes them to the Ghost of Christmas Past. And was like, here's the Ghost of Christmas Past. I mean, Landrew, that's who I mean. I apologize. and so then they're like, wait, we know what to do here. We'll shoot the wall where it's a giant hole and there's a computer behind it.
Hang on, just really quick. You said Landrew at least 50 times.
So that's one of the things I actually wanted to bring up about this episode. I found a copy of the script, and if I remove the parts where, like, it's because in the script they'll say Kirk speaks, Spock speaks, so forth, right? If I remove the instances where it's saying Landrew speaks, we're somewhere around 80 times where the name Landrew is uttered on screen in an hour episode. In 60 minutes, they say the word Landrew approximately 80 times.
So that's about what, less than a minute each time?
Yeah.
I don't know how math works.
Yeah, they're
Guys,
I would have to math out the
what we should do is we should create our own a Landrew religion.
Pass.
In Landrew, I trust.
No,
Pass. I trust in regular.
I'm down, but only if there's a sex dungeon.
Okay, we've got this.
All right.
I was gonna say I trust in regular Drew, but I don't want to be a part of regular Drew's sex dungeon.
We have
So,
cats.
anyways,
cats
we
would be-
have snacks.
They blow a hole in the wall, and it turns out there's a computer, and so they use logic to destroy Landrew.
Say that phrase again.
They use logic to destroy Landrew.
That's how we destroyed you the first time.
Wait, what?
What?
Exactly.
Yeah, so they confuse the machine by giving him a logic thing, but if I remember correctly, this dude Landrew was a guy who programmed the machine, and it was like 6,000 years later. Was that yeah. It was 6,000 years after he died. So these people have been doing this shit for about 6,000 years, and the whole thing is that the Landrew was trying to create its version of paradise, its version of how life should be, where it's like chaotic and not chaotic at the exact same time. And so then they destroy it, and then everybody can no longer hear Landrew, and then therefore everybody's free. You know, at first, I'll be honest, I was like, okay, yet another example of Starfleet going in, messing shit up, and then peace, we're out. But no, they actually left a guy behind. One guy to help out an entire civilization.
Yeah, he's dead.
That's. I mean, what do you expect was what Kirk was going to do after he got, his not guilty plea? Like, he's not guilty for killing people, so he's going to.
You're never going to get over that, are you?
No.
No, he murders, and he keeps getting away with it.
Technically, he didn't murder anybody in this episode.
He left one guy on the planet. Of course, the guy's gonna die.
So yeah, that was the episode. They leave. Everybody's off the planet and happily ever after. And so I want to. In the beginning, I made an emphasis that as soon as the guys touched Sulu, he changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After that point, that was no longer possible, apparently, and they had to be taken to the sex dungeon so they could be converted in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
So am I missing something here? Like, did they lose a power? And how the hell has this been going on for 6,000 years?
Well,
and nobody commented that this has humans for longer than Earth had been technologically advanced.
So when it comes to machines, right? They can go a really long time. Just their lifeline, their lifetime is long. Now, with a giant maintenance window of 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., they're able to perform all their updates. So that's how they are able to survive for so long, because of that very generous maintenance window. So there you go. You learned something.
You know what? That's a fair point. Maintenance windows are important.
Yeah. Also, the reveal at the end, that was done in Futurama too, right? Like, Drew, buddy.
Which one?
Where they go to the Death by Snoo Island.
Oh yeah, it was very.
And at the end, it
similar.
was just a computer. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my memory of that episode's a little fuzzy outside the memorable quotes, but
right, Death by Snoo.
Yeah.
And it was just Brad. You watched the episode ever?
Vaguely remember.
But the Amazonians were not brainwashed though. They were just horny.
Right. They, well, at the end of the episode, Brad, with the very horny Amazonians, there was a computer that was behind the entire thing, and behind the computer was just one fembot controlling like Wizard of Oz. So, spoiler alert.
That it's funny. It's funny, like when you're saying that. When they were talking about, oh, we're gonna take you to Landrew, and they get to the room, and I was like, oh, Wizard of Oz, man behind the curtain. That's what it's gonna be. Nope, robot.
It's it was a femputer was the name of it. I had to Google it up.
Nice.
Femputer. It was a good episode. Anyway.
So, gentlemen, thoughts on this episode? How were you liking it? Hating it?
So I got like some really strong Twilight Zone vibes from this. But unlike Twilight Zone episodes, this episode went nowhere. It really just seemed like it was endless, just kind of spinning its wheels trying to get to the point. And it turned me off very quickly. Seeing like, I think I had checked out by halfway through Act 1 when they landed on the planet and everybody was just like acting like all goofy and stuff, like, "Ooh, Landrew," and to say the name over and over and over and over again, in my mind, is the laziest form of script writing possible.
The best part about this episode, for me, is knowing that after this we get to watch Space Seed.
Is that why, like, you really zoned out, so therefore you could host Space Seed?
I had a very good opening for this, for us hosting today. Hang on, I wrote it down. I shared it with you guys. Give me a second. Fresh off his not guilty court-martial verdict, Kirk decides to celebrate by sending two of his crewmen on a dangerous mission with no support. That was how I was going to open it up. I was really excited for this. And then I fell asleep.
Fair. That's fair.
I mean, I appreciate like what they were trying to do, right? They're trying to basically illustrate that without art and creativity, that humanity just kind of becomes lifeless and dead. And, by Landrew trying to create this utopia, he basically enslaved humanity and sucked out all the life and joy from everything. And, like I haven't seen Handmaid's Tale, but I've seen like, parts of it in passing when my wife is watching it. So there's a little bit of Handmaid's Tale in this, a little bit of Twilight Zone. And I don't know, like it just, maybe it worked in 1966, but for me, it really just fell flat.
So I was thinking about that, Drew, and I feel like with sci-fi of like yesteryears, like they could get away with some really bad writing.
Agreed.
And because there wasn't much sci-fi out there.
Right.
And you think about today, there's still sci-fi with really bad writing. It's inevitable, but you can clearly see the difference between shows with good writing versus bad.
Right.
The ones with really good have like a much larger fan base, and the ones that are bad, it still has a pretty decent fan base, but it's just more of like the satire of the thing.
Right.
And I think back then there really wasn't much there wasn't much options. And so people, like, if you want sci-fi, this is what you got.
Yeah, I mean, they're paving the way, right? So
yeah.
So there's going to be stumbles and there's going to be successes, and I get that. Not every episode of The Twilight Zone was great. Not every episode of The Outer Limits was great. And not every sci-fi movie that came before Star Trek was great either, right? But there are great ones. And I don't know. Like, I have high expectations, I think, for a lot of the stuff that we see with this show. And sometimes I'm really let down. And I didn't really have too many expectations for this episode because this isn't an episode that I've heard talked about often. But this, like, to me, really dropped the ball. So I don't know. I hoped that 20 something episodes in, right? So this was the 21st episode to air, but we're like 23 episodes into production at this point. The scripts where, like, it's just one main focus that they try to drag out over an hour are really troublesome and difficult for me to get through.
Yeah, that's why smaller seasons.
Well, it's not even the smaller seasons. It's just having 2 story beats going, I think. Because there's 26 episodes of TNG, 26 episodes of DS9 and Voyager and so forth. And again, not every episode of those shows are great. Like, we're going to hit our stinkers on there too. But at least you're not subjected most of the time to the same story drawn out over the course of an hour when there's clearly 20 minutes of script.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Drew. I think that's one of the things that the original series really struggles with, is because they have this need to feel to have multiple different story arcs in the same episode, and like multiple different subplots. Whereas, like, if you think modern day stuff, like, they just typically have if you think about modern, they still have those, but they carry them over for like an entire season.
No, that's not really what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm talking about just having, like, within the context of the same episode. You can have a story that starts and finishes within the same episode, but, like, so they in script writing they'll usually refer to it as like an A story and a B story, and sometimes there'll be a C story. So your A story is your main plot, right? So in this context of this episode, the main story could be, if I were the scriptwriter, the whole thing with Landru on the planet. But what happened with Sulu? That's a whole thing that was unexplored, right? That could be your B story. McCoy is on the ship trying to get Sulu better. We don't know. Like, we might go into Space Seed and Sulu's still loopy. We don't know.
Fair.
I hope so.
So I mean, like, that's the kind of I think maturity that I'm looking for from the writers at this point. And I have to, I think, come to terms with the fact that that's a product of the era, and it's a struggle for me. I'm not going to lie, but that's what I think, kind of looking for. When you have a plot line that's thin like this, that's when you need a B story or a C story. The story of Space Seed that we're going to see next week, like, that story is strong enough, and it is held together by actors that are strong enough to carry that from start to finish. But something like this, man, it just, oh boy,
grinds your gears.
Yeah. Brett, what did you think, man? Like, I've bitched about it. Majeed's kind of fell asleep about it. What did you think, man?
I fell asleep about it.
I mean, I did have an advantage where I was a bit trapped and had to park my butt while holding a baby, so I couldn't get away from the episode, and I only had, it was like, hey, you know what, I need to watch it, so might as well just take care of it now. In truth, if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be, I probably would have skipped this episode entirely. Like, because the whole episode felt like it was all over the place. To your point, like with Sulu, randomly getting his well-adjusted attitude changed, and then they did the purge in the beginning of the episode, and then they don't even touch the purge again. Really, they go like, oh, we need to find Landru, and like that. See, like the episode really showed how segmented it is, because if you think about it, like, the purge part was all of Act 1, and then Act 2 is them trying to find, like, what caused the purge. Then Act 3 was them, like, getting captured, and then Act 4 was them, resolving the episode. And it really felt like they were trying to do way too much in a single period of time, rather than expanding on one area. They're just trying to do all these other things that kind of didn't really. It felt very disconnected.
Yeah.
It was an okay episode.
Yeah, I think you make some very good points there. Disconnected is a good way to put it.
Yeah. Do we want to move on to grading this episode?
Please.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is a shorter episodes for the listeners, but
it's probably better off that way.
Yeah,
I can gaslight both of you, and we can fill the maybe 10 minutes of me gaslighting you.
So Drew, what did you think for your score?
I mean, I don't think it's like worthy of like a 1 necessarily, but we're not far off. Just was really lazy script writing, a concept that did not click with me, plots that are just left unanswered and unresolved. And I wasn't even crazy about the acting. Like I don't think the acting or the dialogue was effective.
It wasn't.
I
also keep in mind that we didn't have Kirk's shirt get ripped too, so there was no shirt ripping.
That's a deduction right there. One might call that a demerit. So if I factor that in, plus the demerit for the shirt rip, yeah, man. Dare I give this a 2?
Okay.
What do you guys think? Is that?
I mean, hey, if that's the route you want to take, you want to give it a 2, you can.
Yeah. I'm going with it. Screw it.
Awesome. GD, how about you, buddy?
2. There's nothing redeemable about this episode for me. It's nothing.
Should we put this as like a did not watch, like a DNW for him?
No, it counts because I got more than halfway through and I saw the big reveal with the Fembot.
You said that your wife watched it. Can she give it a score?
She liked it.
What was her number?
I didn't ask for a number because I went back to sleep.
So give it after we're done recording. I need you to go ask her for a rating, and then we can circle back to that and we could share that on Twitter.
Cool.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll give it a 2.
All right, Brad, where you at?
7.
I'm at a 9.
Oh no.
No. Man, like the episode was an episode of Star Trek.
Well, that is a thing.
Like I didn't I remember episode 1, the cage, where I remember like initially I was like really low, and Drew, you're like, Brad, there's always plenty of worse episodes, and I always think about that, and so I kind of try to like grade it comparison.
Yeah.
So like, did I absolutely not like it as much as the cage? And unfortunately, I'm not allowed to change my entry for the cage anymore because it's almost a year past.
We also don't talk about the cage.
But I'm gonna follow suit with you, gentlemen.
Wow.
I'm going with the 2.
It's called peer pressure.
I would watch the cage on repeat before I ever put this episode on intentionally.
I would claw my eyes out before I did either.
There was a lot of disappointment with this one.
Well, the thing is like I don't think I had any expectations whatsoever because I had never heard of this episode before we started like planning out the recording schedule. Like Return of the Archons, I'm like, okay, this sounds like some StarCraft.
Who are the Archons? Who are the Archons? And they didn't return.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm noticing is that the name of the episode often misdescribes what the episode's actually about.
Yeah. Yep.
And or it's a vague reference to one thing in the episode that is not important at all.
Right.
If anything, the name of this episode should be something like
Landru.
In Landru We Trust.
Yeah.
Now, I got to go back and rewatch this, but apparently this planet was revisited in Lower Decks.
Oh God, seriously?
Yeah, they went back to this place to try to clean up the mess, and this was actually the season 1 finale.
I need to rewatch Lower Decks.
Yeah, me too.
Because like, you know, Drew, you and I, we get the references from TNG onwards.
Yeah.
But like for TOS stuff, like we miss a lot of that.
Yep. And there's a ton of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to wait though until after we watch like the entirety of this, because like I feel like there's gonna be so many more references that are gonna keep coming up.
Yeah.
That once we finish the TOS series, we'll be like, oh my god, we get that.
There's been quite a few references to the animated series as well too, which I've only gotten in passing, but I'm looking forward to having a better appreciation for those.
Yeah, I want to watch that too. That's the TOS and the animated are probably the two I've never really sat down and watched religiously.
Yeah, me neither. And like I'm kind of hoping that when we do inevitably finish the original series, we could do the animated one, because I have no experience with that at all. At least I have a little bit of experience with this. But
Agreed.
Apparently,
did I just get outvoted?
Yes. Apparently, this is one of Gene Roddenberry's favorite episodes. Take that for what you will. It's in his top 10.
So I have mixed feelings about him.
Yeah.
Like he's done so much for us, but the more I learn of him, like my opinion of him kind of wavers.
Yeah.
More and more.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm thankful for him helping bring to life like our favorite. You know what we should be doing, Drew? We shouldn't be thanking him. We should be thanking Lucille Ball.
True.
Like we should just be thanking her.
100%.
Instead of like, hey, Roddenberry did it, Lucille Ball. We'll just put it to her.
Yeah, I mean,
so
in all
I
seriousness,
totally get that reference.
So,
but
at the end of each episode, you'll see a logo for Desilu Studios. Desilu was Lucille Ball and her husband Desi Arnaz, who were also the stars of I Love Lucy. They're responsible for Star Trek existing because they took a chance and produced it. Without those two and their studio, Star Trek would not exist because Gene Roddenberry couldn't get anybody else to buy it. Do you know who I Love Lucy is? Do you know that show?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah, I do.
Because you're just staring at me blankly, and I'm confused.
I thought first of all, one, you're wearing a hoodie.
Yes.
And I keep thinking that you're going to rob me.
The
second thing is...
Or that you're the Unabomber.
I'm going to purge. I'm going to purge you.
Yeah, no, that's I knew that already. I know that stuff. I just think it's better for you to explain it to
okay.
our listeners.
Explain it to the listeners in case they didn't.
It is good to explain that because not everybody will know that. But then when I answer your question and there's silence, I'm like, did I miss something?
Remember that time that I asked, like last week, I asked you for like, some kind of like appreciation and love, and you just gave me silence? Like that.
Oh, goodness.
Gentlemen, anything else before we talk about next week's episode?
Excitement.
All right. Next week, we are watching Space Seed. The Enterprise discovers an ancient spaceship carrying genetically enhanced supermen from late 20th century Earth and their enigmatic.
Yeah.
I struggle with English.
Dude, it is
enigmatic.
It is early, and I can't even say that word. But
enigmatic warlord leader Khan Noonien Singh.
Yeah.
Can.
Oh man,
sorry.
Majeed's hosting.
Mm-hmm.
Brad's
maybe
upset.
unless Brad.
No, I'm done. I'm done. Yeah, I did it. Kirk's wearing his official green outfit in that picture on Memory Alpha.
Yeah.
Is his shirt ripped?
Not yet. There's time.
No, however, Khan has like a nice V-neck going down the chest there.
Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah. What a sexy looking man.
Zaddy? Is he
honestly,
Zaddy?
like Drew, I kind of feel like we should just watch that episode, and then we should watch Star Trek 2.
It is tempting. That is tempting. We could talk about that offline.
Oh yeah, we totally should.
Because that movie is so good. That is, oh man. There's so many layers to that onion on how good that film is.
I know with me, it's between Undiscovered and that one.
Yeah, I go back and forth. Like, you can ask me 7 days out of the week, and it would just be between those two films. But I couldn't decide between the two of them.
Well, I think Undiscovered only leans heavier only because I have more like a childhood memory with it.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah,
because I actually saw it in theaters, which was
I did
great.
too.
Oh yeah. Majeed's like, I don't really care.
I don't.
Majeed, you will love Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Yeah, that is a guarantee.
Ooh, okay.
Isn't it 2, 4, and 6 are the good ones, and then 1, 3, and 5 are the meh ones?
I mean, I've come to appreciate 3, and I enjoy it for what it's worth. And I think there's some notable things that happen in that one. Christopher Lloyd playing the first Klingon of any substance. in this
yeah.
And basically rewriting the script for what a Klingon should be. I think is massively important to the history of Star Trek, but yeah, 2, 4, and 6 are like the good ones, quote unquote.
Yep. Well, Majeed, we have a lot to look forward to for getting your reaction.
Well, I mean, Drew just basically guaranteed it, so
yeah.
Wait, which is the wasn't it Picard where they come up against the punk rocker?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Picard.
Yeah, from 4. It's the same actor too.
Yeah, I saw it. I remember that. It was like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Anyways, folks, us babbling is probably not what you're here for, but
yes,
you know what?
Is.
What you are here for is for us to say goodbye. And well, everybody, in Landrew we trust. You have a good one.
Landrew.
Air Drew.
Say goodnight, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to yet another Star Trek podcast. We're a part of the Retro Sessions Network. This episode was recorded on December 3rd, 2022, and was hosted by Brad. Drew and Majeed were kind of lazy and didn't watch the episode entirely, so I don't really know if you can count them, but they're a part of the crew. This episode was edited by Drew. Brad, again, he didn't write the synopsis, but he did host, so kudos for Brad. Majeed takes care of the artwork and is the Twitter master, so good job, Majeed. Special thanks to William Groblar Music for our music Warp Speed and To the Stars. You can find him on SoundCloud. We'll have links in the show notes. Also, special thanks to George Ratau for the additional artwork. He made us look like Lower Deck characters. Hit him up on Fiverr and you can too. We'll drop links in the show notes as well. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up on TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter at yetanotherstpod, or shoot us an email, yetanotherstpod@gmail.com. We've also got a Discord room, so come chat with us and say hello. Next week, we will be watching Spacey. Watch along with us on Paramount Plus and let us know what you think of the episode. Let us know how we're doing with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts from. It helps out the show, and it's free. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week, and in Landrew we trust.